Do you recall a time at work when it was stimulating and meaningful? At the end of the day, you had a deep sense of accomplishment and satisfaction. That is what fun is. It's not an easy ride. The test of engagement and fun at work are the memories and the experiences it leaves behind. It's as simple as that. What are the memories? What are the experiences that has that happen for you? I recall years ago when I first started this business, I was so excited. I spent countless hours researching, reading, and preparing for the first workshop that I was ever going to run. That's nearly 30 years ago. I recall that I would get the children to sit there while I would practice all the different lessons and the teddy bears, and they'd all fall over and go to sleep. But I was excited, even if they weren't. That first workshop was called Meet the Invincible You. And I ran it in April of 1991, and I took about 7 months to build it. I don't think I've ever been more challenged and excited all at the same time. Do you recall those times when you're excited and you're like terrified? That's actually a really great sign. I was doing what I loved and engaged in educating myself and others. That has been my journey here at Integrity and Values. Once again, it requires all of us in the business to give that little bit more and engage at a whole new level. How do you have fun, be there over the long haul? All jobs have mundane tasks. Do you have things that you don't like doing? Well, I do. There's things that I don't like doing, right? That's normal. Fun is not drinks on Friday, a barbecue 3 times a year, and a Christmas party. People just get drunk and tell you what they really think. And then you have a HR problem on Monday, right? So let's not do that one. Really, how do you engage with people? How do you get them to tell you what they really think? What turns them on and lights them up? And when you satisfy that, productivity follows. That's what it takes. And fun is actually giving people that. For those of you who are new to our webinars, I'm not going to stand here and give you a whole bunch of data and all of that, and I will give you some. What we are going to do is we're going to send you to those breakout rooms that we started with. And in the breakout room, we'll pose a question. And you will have an opportunity to go, where do I fit with that? How does that work with me? And you can have a discussion as a group. Now, there's something that my team told me the last time. I've got this huge screen up in front of me. It's actually my TV, and I can see all of you. So if my eyes are dancing all around the place, it's because I'm looking at you. Right? And they said, you look like you're a bit mad, Jennifer. Your eyes dancing all over the place. No, I'm looking at you. Right? And I'm a right sticky beak, so I really want to check out what you're up to right over there. So our first breakout question is going to be, you're going to go in there and you're going to introduce yourself. Give your name, your company, and where you're located. And the question that I just want you to ask in this first time, what do you think engagement is? What does it actually mean? What is engagement? Off you all go. Welcome back. So what is engagement? Did you come up with words like getting connected, enjoying it? Whatever it is and what it isn't is really important. When we go to work somewhere or when we employ someone, there's an arrangement that we have. An engagement is an arrangement. And the arrangement is inside of the contract that you actually have with people. And inside of that contract is some unsaid or implicit things. As a leader, our job is to provide an environment where they are able to connect with what they are passionate about, what they love doing. And when we can give people that, everything changes for them. So the question that people often ask is, what is it like working here? And as leaders, we really like people to tell people all these fabulous things. What's not helpful if people don't tell you what doesn't work about working here. One of the big lessons is to be able to hear that as a leader. Here's something that you want to get really, really clear about. Having people say, well, I like the people here, is a bonus, not necessary. It's not sufficient to cause a fun environment. Recently, I had a conversation with one of our clients, and the thing that they kept saying to me was, oh, they love me. And I went, so what? Who cares? You want to get, they're not happy. And they think that they build this affiliative kind of relationship, it will make some difference. It won't. Loving you is a bonus. Liking you is a bonus. Yeah? You earn that when you do and create an environment that's fun for them. That's what makes the difference. So engagement, from that first piece, when I lost my piece of paper now, is the test of engagement is the fun at work, right? That, how much fun are you actually having? And it's what you walk away with from any environment. It's the memories that you carry. That's what matters. And when we can't talk about those memories, that's what actually makes it hard for us to create an environment where people feel like they're actually having fun. So, here's your next question that we'll send you out to. What was the environment that had you be most effective? What was there? What was inside of that place that had you be so effective? Go and answer that question. Off you go. Welcome back. So what was that environment that had you be excited, that had you jumping out of bed? Not that I think I ever done that, but you know, like I'm not that excited in the morning. But by the time I get there, I'm ready to go and I'm excited and I want to be involved. So who are we that as leaders and in the businesses that we own or the organizations that we lead, how do we create that? And don't kid yourself and say, well, everyone's having fun here. If you didn't ask them, you don't know. And then you get big surprises as they walk out the door. So there was a survey that was done. And these were the statistics for Australia. And this is the International Survey Research. Basically, they surveyed like 165,000 people, some of which were Australian, and this is the Australian cohort. 18% of our workers, only 18%, are engaged. That's scary. How many of you actually knew that? You actually knew that engagement was low. Yeah? 13% are actively disengaged. That is, they're looking for something else. Or they're just giving you trouble because no one else would hire them, only you're the dummy who keeps them. Well, that's a horrible thing to say, right? And then this is the big issue. 69% of people are not engaged. What does that actually mean? So there's the actively disengaged, there's the engaged, and then there's this huge group, almost 2/3, right? They're just not engaged. How do they behave? So this is what they do. They come to work and they're generally satisfied. You know, it's all right. If you ask them, oh, it's all right here, right? They're cognitively and emotionally not connected to your workplace and the work that they're doing. They will usually show up. So they show up. You know, they rarely have days off. They show up because, you know, they've got this thing, you know, they pay me, so I'll show up. But what they give is a whole different thing. And they do the minimum that is required. Just enough to keep themselves under your radar. And they will quickly leave if they're given an offer that's only slightly better. That's pretty scary stuff. Now, the cost of having people leave your organisation and come back in because you do not create a fun environment is really expensive. That's a whole nother talk, right? The cost to re-engage someone. So, people either do one of two things, okay? They either quit and stay, and those are the people that are mainly in that 69%. Or they quit and leave. Those are the 13%ers. Now, the people that are highly engaged may leave because you've grown them enough so that they can move on. That's different. And when they leave, all's good with the world. You're actually okay with it. Because sometimes people need to go in order to do the growing that they need. So it's highly likely that your quit and stayers are in that 69%. They're just not engaged. And those people will do more damage to your business than anybody else because they're not excited. They're not that committed. So in a lot of the literature review that I've done on this, and, you know, like we decide to run this talk and I kind of know this stuff and I think, okay, I better go and check out that I actually know what I'm talking about. And then I feel really validated when I find out that everyone's saying what we're saying. So people want to know how they fit into your business. And here's something that all of us know as leaders, and yet are we really cognizant of it? 2/3 of people's waking life is spent at work. Let's let them have a good time. And generally, that's where we're looking for our good time. You know, if we have a great time at work, then who we are when we are in our other part of our life, right, is happy and excited. If the majority of our time is spent working, and we're actually built to work, by the way, you know, people who do nothing, they die pretty quick because they've got no purpose. So give people that purpose. Okay, 70%, here's a stat, 70% of the variance in employee engagement scores are caused by managers and leaders. You lot sitting here. If the people aren't happy, you caused it. Oh, she's so mean. How dare she say that to me? I'm great. No, you're not. Don't put tickets on yourself. I like to put a ticket on myself and then my team reminds me very quickly how much I just don't measure up at times. And if they can do that for you, if they can tell you how you don't measure up, guess what? You can do something about it. So it's all in the conversation that you have. Staying engaged is the conversation that you have with your people, even when you don't like it. So what does it take to turn serious work into serious play? I don't know if any of you have been watching The Last Dance the story of Michael Jordan and the Bulls on Netflix. It's fantastic. Go and watch it. I'm on about session 4 of it, or whatever it is, episode 4. It's really good. Like, what does it take for it to be fun? And why did he quit? Because it wasn't fun anymore. Interesting, hey? Best basketballer ever quit when it wasn't fun. And who caused that? The leadership. Scary, hey? And he was the best of the best. So, what does it take? Now, I want to tell you a fairy tale, because it's morning time. You should get fairy tales in the morning, right? So how many of you have heard of Goldilocks and the Three Bears? Come on, everyone's heard of Goldilocks and the Three Bears, okay? So Goldilocks went out into the woods for a little wander, and she got hungry, and she found the bear house. And she went in, and there was porridge on the table, 3 bowls of porridge. And the daddy bear porridge was too hot. Oh, whew, no. And then the mummy bear porridge was too cold. Not having that. And then the baby bear porridge was just right. And she ate it all up. She's a thief. But that's okay. She loved it. She ate the baby bear porridge, right? If we want people to eat the porridge in our workplaces, we got to get it just right. And how do you do that? 7 simple questions. Do you want to know what they are? For those of you who don't know. For those of you who have done our fun test, 7 simple questions. Now, before we go to those questions and what they are, I'm going to send you to another breakout question. What does it take? Who do you need to be? Well, who do they need to be? And how do you create it? So here's a question for you. What is intimacy at work? What is intimacy at work? Off you go. Welcome back. So what is intimacy? And let me assure you, it's got nothing to do with sex. Intimacy is simply, can you get me? Can you see me? I love the English language. The English language is made up of lots of words smashed together. So intimacy is into me see. Now, I don't know if that's actually true, but I made it up. I thought it was good. Right? So that's good, hey? Like, think about it. Could you see into your people? If you want to engage them, you better get intimate with them. You better find out the things that makes them turn on and light up. How do you do that? Well, guess what? It's pretty simple. You better talk to them. I really love it. I gave someone, an executive in one of our programs recently, I said, look, what you need to do is you need to go around and talk to them, right? And given that he didn't much like talking to anybody, I don't know, he's the senior executive in this business and, grunts at everybody. And then he thinks, well, I think I should talk to them. And I was talking to his CEO sometime later, and he said he's so clunky about it, but he goes around and he hangs around all, uncomfortable and hello, right? And he's learning, right? And it was fun. He was so proud of himself. I talked to them, Jennifer, every day. I said, that's lovely. It's good. Keep doing it. Now go ask them these 7 questions, right? Then what do I do? So he wants the whole recipe. So who wants the recipe? Who needs recipes to make a good pudding? Okay, so I'm going to give you a recipe for a good pudding of conversation to have with people. Because if you did that, it gets easier. Otherwise you'll be like this, what do I say now? Right? And that's okay. We're not taught this stuff. Yeah, we need to learn it. This is a learned experience. It doesn't just happen. Okay, so remember Goldilocks, okay? Too hot, too cold, just right. These 7 questions allow you to find out what is okay and what's not. So the 7 essentials for fun at work is how much challenge does the person want? Yeah? How much elbow room? So when we say the degree of challenge, we're saying what level of your abilities or skills are being used in a demanding and stimulating way. How much do you want that? Then how much elbow room? How much autonomy? Like, get away from me. I was talking to one of our CEOs last week and I said to him, what happens to you if people crowd you? And he said, well, you know, I left and went and found another job. Right? So when the board kept micromanaging what he was doing, when he had run a whole race, when he had taken a business that for 11 years had been in losses and he took it to massive profits in 3 years, ran our program, did all kinds of things, it was amazing. And then when they micromanaged him, he said, well, you get lost now, I'm gone. Right? So there are people that do not like to have that happen. They're out of there. Right? And then there's others that are not. Now, there's a whole nother conversation that I had with him about some jobs require more structure, others don't. You need to decide on that. The opportunity for learning. One of the big things in any organization is what level for growth and development is available in this workplace for me. What do I want to learn and grow about? I have a member of my team that's had a large gap in learning for a long time. We keep talking about it. They're not ready to tell me exactly what they want. And I'm okay with that. We just keep talking. I said, you don't walk out the door and tell me I didn't give you what you wanted because you can't decide, right? No. I'm in, Jennifer. I just haven't figured out where is the next piece of learning for me. Okay, I'm all right with that conversation. But guess what? If I didn't ask the question, I wouldn't know. And don't think people are going to come and tell you. We're not that fantastic, just in case you were wondering. You need to ask. The meaningfulness of the work. In all the research and all the literature papers that I've read, meaningfulness of the work is one of the most important things. Does the person feel like their contribution makes a difference to the company, to the client? So even the worker on the shop floor who's in a production line, if you educate them about the little piece of work that they're doing and what the end product does and how if they didn't do that little cog in that wheel, it becomes repetitive and they slip into that 69%. They come, they do the job, they're not engaged. Whereas if they took pride in it because you let them know, that adds meaning for them. Mutual support. Now you can't get enough of meaningfulness of the work, mutual support, mutual respect, and a shared vision. You can't get enough of this stuff. You know, when someone says to me, you know, I don't want much support, I go, whoa. So look at our definition. The mutual support is the capacity your workplace has to create an environment where asking for assistance is seen as, is recognized as a strength. So it's recognized as a strength to ask for assistance. Now, we are living in a world where we've got a bunch of know-it-alls who then act like know-it-alls, and then it's so scary for their people to admit that they don't know. So, good idea. Create an environment of enough safety that people can say, hey, put their hand up, I'm stuck. Mutual respect. Your contribution is honoured and recognised in the organisation. Like what you do is important. If you let your people know that what they do is really important, then you get discretionary effort. And then a shared vision and values. The company demonstrates in behaviour and actions what it aspires to. Now, how do you use all of this? Who's interested? How do you, like there's 7 questions, so what? Here's how you do it. There's a simple way of finding out, and you simply ask people these 7 questions with the distinction that we have on it. So let's say the degree of challenge. What level of abilities, of your abilities or skills, are being utilized in a demanding and stimulating way? So it's on a scale of 0 to 10. 10 is, I want lots of challenge, give it to me and pile it on. And 0 is, look, I'm just a vegetable over here and I'll just do this. Don't ask me to do anything else, I just do this. You got that? Okay. Now, most people aren't that. So what is it that they want? So let's say this person wants a 10, as you can see on the screen, in challenge. They're getting a 6. What do you think's going on for them? There's a -4 difference. It's too what? Cold. It's mummy bear porridge you gave them. Ugh. Right? They want baby bear porridge. Get it right. So, I remember years ago, no, I won't tell you that story. I'll tell you this story. Anita, last week, I did all the fun tests for our team, right? And she had a 2-point difference. I asked her permission to do this one. And I said, so what, you have the conversations, a whole big warm up, and we have a way that you do it. And I said to her, I said, so what would make a difference for you? So her main role is BD, and she's one of our master coaches. And given some of the choices that she made, is she wasn't doing as much coaching, almost none. And she said, I want to do more of that. And I said, okay, we'll figure it out. So yesterday, she got biled with it. I said, are you happy now? You're having fun now? So she's happy, right? If you never ask people, you do not know. A 2-point gap is big enough for them to fall into not engaged. So let's look at what happens. So they get bored and they get up to mischief if they're not getting enough, right? Or they disengage. What happens if they're getting too much? So the degree of challenge is they want a 6, and for some people, that's where they are. And they're getting a 9. Now they're stressed. It's too much for them. How do you have that conversation? How do you bring it back a bit? And sometimes the conversation is, this role is a 9 or a 10. So we need to have another look at your role inside of this business. How many of you just got a huge aha there? Like, can you fix it for them? Can you have a conversation that makes a difference? So these 7 questions, they're simple, hey? But they're very, very powerful. You need to do it 3 times a year. How many times? 3 times minimum. Quarterly would be better. 3's sufficient. Because you're going to have a 15 to 20 minute conversation with people after you have done it. And you're going to talk to them about what is it that would close the gap. And as I did this conversation with each member of our team last week, it made such a difference. So what is the ideal score? The ideal score is 0. I want a 9, I get a 9. And you've got a leeway of +1 or -1. I get a little bit too much, or I'm not getting quite enough. And when people go, enough now, it's adequate. What you're looking for, 0, is adequacy. They get enough to keep them well engaged. They fall into that 18%. I'm engaged. And it's exciting and fun for me. So, when you discuss each of these things with your people, you'll discover all kinds of fabulously interesting things about them. That's my experience. They share with you and you get to be intimate with them. You find out what turns them on and you give them baby bear porridge where it's just right. You don't have the conversation, it doesn't work. And you are guessing. Do not allow your biases to decide what's going on inside of your business. Ask the question. And when you do, you'll get a huge, huge surprise. Okay, I'm going to send you out to another breakout. It'll be our last one for this morning. Now that I've given you this, have a little discussion about what does it take to get it just right? What does it take to give people baby bear porridge? Off you go. So what does it take to get it just right? Remember that slide that I gave you earlier? Managers are responsible for 70% of the variance in employee engagement scores. Now, engagement is not the job of HR. If you are sending this to HR, all the HR managers here today, shove it back at them. Give it back. It's not your job. It's the leader's job to have these conversations. No one else has it except the leader. So, getting it just right. In the literature review that I did, the founder of employee engagement is a guy by the name of William Kahn. And he said that there are 3 fundamental things that you need to look at in order to know whether people are engaged. What I loved about his literature is it agrees with us, so he must be right. Right? So, how meaningful is this work? Is it for me to bring myself to this? So it's really important to hear what he's saying. How meaningful is it for me to bring myself to this? Does it make meaning to me? And how safe is it for me to bring my whole self to this? And then the last one is, how available am I to do so? We recently had an experience in our business, hired this absolutely amazing guy, terrific guy, so excited. He is not available to do so right now. He's just not available. In the space of mind that he is, etc., right now, it doesn't work for him. The great thing is we parted on really good terms. And when I spoke to him yesterday afternoon, I said, the door is open. When you're ready, come and see us. You are not available to do so right now. The job of a facilitator coach at Integrity and Values is a grueling job. It takes something. There's a lot of meaning in the work. We create as much safety as we possibly can, and you need to be available. Now, you want to think about those 3 things. If you haven't done it, take a photo of that. Take a photo, get the 7 questions that you actually need to ask. He found that when people were engaged at work in situations that offered these 3 things, the meaningfulness of their role rose and their availability to give discretionary effort rose. If you do not talk to them, you do not know if you've got that balance just right for them. Make it safe. Keep your eye on your people and notice what they're doing and what they're not doing. So, give us a wave. Who heard things this morning that you could go, I could use this right now. I could go and ask people these questions right now. If you did, you will be surprised at how much you get back. You want an intimate, safe, meaningful work environment. Ask the questions. Fun is bringing your whole self. Nothing left, nothing held back. Do you remember that song, Do the Hokey Pokey? Right? I loved it. And while I was finishing off my prep last week on this, I remembered that song. I thought, I got to sing it, but I won't make you do that. Okay? I won't make you listen. But the song is, you put your whole self in, you put your whole self out. You put your whole self in and you turn about. That's what it's all about. So when you're at work, you want people to put their whole self in and turn about. Your job is create a place where they will do that. Create an environment where it's fun. That's what it's all about. There's the good, the bad, and the ugly. get used to it. Nothing is always fabulous. It's not. It's the conversations and the intimacy that you build in the relationships that you have. So as you leave today, what is the promise that you will make as a leader to yourself and your people to create an environment where work is so satisfying, they're excited to show up? Be the leader where the environment you create and is fun and engaging for your people. You do that and they will do the rest. Thank you.